In this grade 12 English video, we are preparing for the September preparatory examination, or the preliminaries as you would call it. We are going to be focusing on English home language as well as English first additional language. We are specifically going into the scope for paper 3 specifically, so we are going to go through what to expect in your paper 3 and how you can best prepare for your paper 3 for both English home language and first additional. Before we got on with the scope, I just wanted to let you know that we have finalized the timetable for the virtual classes to help you with the last minute preparations for your exam dates. The way the timetable works is that in the blue, we have the first initial dates for every paper that we are offering, and then we have the repeat classes on the dates that are in the orange. So all you have to do in order to book your session is simply email me at priscilla.sanelane@gmail.com, and you can simply say in the subject exam preparation, and you can also specify which subject that you want and the dates that you are booking for in the body of your email. So once again, at priscilla.sanelane@gmail.com, in the subject line you simply write exam prep, and in the body you specify which subject, which paper, and on which dates out of the timetable that you are booking for. Take note of the times that we will be providing the virtual classes, so that number one, you don't miss them. Number two, you also make sure that you are available during those times, so that you're not making the mistake of thinking that the times are in a different time than it's not. So these are the times that we will be offering those classes. So make sure that when you book a class, you know that you will avail yourself for those times and that you have no clashes. As you know, section A is going to be your essays. Your essays are out of a total of 50 marks. That means if you're writing home language, your response needs to be between 2 pages and 2.5 pages. So meaning that minimum 2 pages, maximum 2.5 pages. If you're doing first additional language, your minimum is 1.5 page to 2 pages maximum. So you know that your response, if you're doing first additional language, cannot go past 2 pages. And then when it comes to the type of essays that you will be writing, you have a choice to choose between a narrative essay, a descriptive essay, a reflective essay, a discussive essay, and an argumentative essay. Usually the title itself will kind of direct you with the type of essay that you need to write for the essay that you would have chosen. So for example, if it's an argumentative essay, they may give you a statement for a title and then ask you to write an essay on whether you agree with the statement or you disagree with the statement. So if you disagree, you will be arguing against the statement. If you agree with the statement, then you will be writing an essay in argument for the statement. So it's already asking you in a way that chooses or rather directs you to the type of essay that you need to write. With narrative essays, usually they need you to be telling some sort of a story. A discussive essay will literally ask you to discuss something. So the title itself, it will direct you with the type of essay that you need to be writing. You're also allowed to mix the types of essays that you will be doing. So you could be writing a narrative essay in which you are telling a story, but you are telling a story of something that happened to you, and in that story you are reflecting on what your decisions were or what your feelings were as that story was taking place. So it's a narrative essay as well as a reflective essay. You're not going to be penalized for not sticking to one type of an essay. Then we also have visual stimuli. Visual stimuli, it's the essays that come from the pictures. So meaning that they're going to give you pictures, and from those pictures you have to start by giving them a title and then writing on that title. The title that you give to the picture has to relate to the picture. So there has to be some resemblance, and it also has to make sense. You can't go out of the scope totally. It has to be related to what's happening in the picture. In my virtual class, I make an aim of making sure that each and every single one of the learners that join the virtual class go into the exam knowing exactly what to write. So we work on a strategy for your essays. In section B, we're looking into long transactional texts. If you're writing home language, you're going to have to answer two of these, meaning that you're going to write two long transactional texts, reason being that in home language we do not have a section C. If you're in first additional language, we have a section C there, so that means that for long transactional texts, meaning that in this section B you're only going to be required to answer one of them. So these are the possibilities that you have for long transactional text. You have a formal letter, a friendly letter, a magazine article and a newspaper article, an email, an obituary, a dialogue, a curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae may come with a cover letter, so make sure that when you practice a curriculum vitae, you also practice a cover letter. Then we have a formal speech and an informal speech. Then we have a review and minutes for meetings. Minutes for meetings also go with the agenda, so make sure that you study minutes of a meeting as well as the agenda of a meeting. So make sure that you know how to write both. Then we have an interview. This is a written interview, and then you also have a formal report. In the virtual classes, what we're going to be doing, which is most important when it comes to transactional texts, is to go through the format of every single one of these, and we're also going to be looking at which of these should you prioritize, because if we're being honest, sometimes it just becomes a little bit difficult for you to just study all of these and remember all of them. It's quite a lot. So in the virtual classes, what we do is we look at what you should be prioritizing based on my recommendations. So we talk about how I come up with those recommendations in the virtual class. Once again, if you want to join us for the virtual class for paper 3 of English, it's going to be on the 25th of August, and then we are also going to have a repeat class for those of you who will be writing paper 3 on a later date. So we make sure that the repeat class is going to be on a later date, that is the 22nd of September. So once again, you can catch us if you're writing your paper 3 or starting early with your paper 3. You know that on the 25th of August, meaning that this month, we are going to start our virtual classes with paper 3 for English. In that class, we will be attending to both English first additional as well as English home language. And then if you are writing your paper 3 on a much later date, meaning somewhere along in September, because there are some provinces where you will be writing on a later date, that means that you can catch us for the class that is on the 22nd of September. Section C is the shorter transactional text, and this is for first additional language learners only. For home language, you do not have a section C, meaning that your paper 3 only has essays as well as long transactional text. That's why in your long transactional text you have to write two long transactional texts, because you do not have a section C. But for first additional language, you have a section C. That's why you're only writing one long transactional text, and the other 25 marks is gonna come from your short transactional text. For short transactional texts, you have given directions, giving instructions, a diary entry or a journal entry. You have an email that may come up as a short transactional text. You have a postcard, you have an invitation card, or you may have some sort of an advertisement, a poster, or a flyer. You are not required to include illustrations in your postcard or your invitation card or any of these things that you are having to do for your short transactional text. If you do include any drawings or illustrations, you will not be penalized, but there will not be any marks awarded for it. What they do mark is the format and everything that is required within the short transactional text that you are writing. So no matter how beautifully illustrated it is, if it doesn't have all the requirements of the format, then you will not get the full marks for that. So what your priority must be, it must be on the format. And once again, those formats are also what we are going to be dealing with in the virtual classes that we are going to be hosting on the 25th of August and the 22nd of September. So in those classes we will be looking at the format of every single one of your shorter transactional texts, and also what needs to be included in your directions for you to be able to get your marks, what needs to be included in your journal entry or your diary entry for you to be able to get full marks, as well as in your postcards, your invitation, and even in your flyers and posters. So even when you're studying on your own, make sure that you prioritize the formats.
Have YouTube recommend you more of my videos, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.